Out of curiosity, in terms of, could you go through or kind of explain how you got your first position? So you've been learning this stuff, and how did you eventually get the position?
Yeah, that's a great question. After that boot camp that I mentioned, all aboard boot camp, that's when I did like a full stack project for my final project. And when I felt like I was ready to take on maybe an internship. And I remember Code Academy was one of the places that I would periodically go back and check, like, oh, what are they hiring for at this point in time? And I think it was like a year before that where I was looking. And then after I finished the boot camp, I looked on their site again and it showed that they were hiring for apprentices. And I was like, yeah, this would be a great opportunity. And I'm also very passionate about education. And this is probably why I care so much about trying to help junior developers because I am very passionate about, I don't know, whatever that is, helping people learn.
Hmm.
And so the Code Academy's mission and values resonated with me. And I was like, I definitely want to apply. And I thought it was a sign because I just finished this boot camp. They're hiring. Let's go ahead and apply. I put all my eggs in one basket and focused all my time on writing this cover letter and uh, application and ended up getting selected to do a take home, which, by the way, speaking about testing, that was the first time I probably had to look up testing. So I didn't really learn testing throughout the 2 years or whatever it was
Hmm.
of me learning programming. And for the take home, I had to write 2 unit tests, and I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I looked up how to do that, and then did it. And then I guess after that, I got an interview. And by the way, the whole process with Code Chemie was just really, really great. They were very transparent. They were very accommodating. I didn't know that I could get accommodations in place. At that time, I didn't know I would need accommodations, but I like knowing now what accommodations would have been helpful for me. I probably would have asked for some. But for the most part, like they were very transparent and it was very smooth process. The interview was very straightforward and it wasn't a whiteboarding, those shenanigan type interviews that you hear about.
Yeah, I hate
It
those.
was a pair programming. It was a pair programming interview, and there were things that I didn't know how to do during the interview, and they said you can look it up, and it was more like just a co-working session, I guess. And I really thought I bombed it. And I think this is really important to say also. This was mentioned in the Ruby for All episode when Brandon Weaver was talking about like you don't have to finish all of the things that all the prompts that they bring up. It's more about the quality of the conversations and whatever it is that is being discussed. And so I think possibly that helped. But yeah, I did not finish. And I remember being so bummed that I went and spent time to finish it on my own and sent it over, not knowing how they would take that. But
That's
they ended
actually
up,
very, that's a very good thing to do, in my opinion, for someone
oh,
who's,
really?
yeah, I mean, I never got a job so fast that I went on the interview and they asked all these questions. And I went back home and I just percolated. And then I sent them a 4-page report, kind of like as if I was a consultant, but I didn't even know what that was when I did it. And they wanted to hire me so bad, it was crazy. So I
Oh,
think showing that extra work and saying, this person will not be defeated. They're going to figure it out on their own and send in, I think that's huge.
Well, and I can tell you too, having been spent a good bit of time doing hiring and interviews myself, to hire junior developers and stuff. What they're really looking for is not that you solve this particular problem. It's how you go about trying to figure out how to solve it. How are your problem solving skills? Not are you getting the answer to this particular problem? So we're more interested in how you relate. How will you work on a team? How will you approach problems? How will you get set up? What questions will you ask? How determined are you to solve this thing? Are you going to quit easily, or are you going to bulldog it and get it done? That's the kind of stuff that when you're going for a job in the tech sector, that's what they want to know. Not that you know all these things off the top of your head and you've memorized all the formulas. I mean, I haven't. I'm just really good at Google. And that's, you don't have to know all the formulas. You just have to know Google. So it doesn't matter if you don't know all the stuff. We just want to know that you will go after the stuff and try to figure it out. So I think that's important too. It's not to be intimidated at your first interviews for tech stuff, because it's important to know that what they're looking for is your tenacity and
Yeah, that's a good word. I was just thinking that, tenacity.
yeah. Well, and Andrew says grit, self-starter, passion is important. Yeah, that's more important than knowing the right answer right off.
So when you said you said it was an apprentice position. Was that considered a what do you call it? Well, I mean,
Internship.
was it a full-time apprenticeship, or I'm sorry, was it a internship, or was it a full-time position or part-time position?
Yeah, it actually was full-time and
Okay,
it was paid, which I remember my
right.
boot camp instructors said don't take positions that aren't paid. I don't know. I feel like also at the time it's really hard to find jobs, so people might want to pick up unpaid positions anyways to get some experience under the belt and get that on the resume. But yeah, it was full-time and it was for 12 weeks, I want to say, and it was a pretty good program where they set you up with a mentor, and I think my mentor was integral for, I guess, my success there, because she helped pick out, like in the very beginning, I came in as a back-end engineer, but there's, lots of like across the stack things that you can do. And so she would handpick in the beginning, she would handpick the tickets that would be appropriate for me. And I think those baby steps led to the training wheels coming off, and then me being able to just pick my own tickets or be assigned tickets from the PM and kind of roll with it. So I think it was a great program. At the time there was 6 of us, which was also great because then I had buddies to talk to.
Now, so this was a term apprenticeship, and did that evolve into something else, or is pretty much just for that term?
Yeah, you either get selected to work with them after or you don't. And just so happens that all 6 of us got converted to
Okay,
full-time
okay.
employees.
Nice.
Yeah.
Andrew asking, did you mention your code in place experience? Yes, she did. Talked about code in place.
Yes. Andrew, you should share why you know about that.
Yes, Andrew, why do you know about that? So
it's funny because Code in Place 2020 was when I was a student, and they happened to do another one in 2021, and I tried to apply as a mentor. I'm pretty sure there was a hiccup because I changed my email address at the time, and so they didn't select me because maybe they flagged my account as like, no, this is not who you say you are. So I didn't get selected, but that's okay.
You are not who you think you are. If you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.